Welcome to Treasure Valley Podcast. I'm Chuck. This episode is brought to you by LowerGentry Studios. LowerGentry Studios is a film production company that specializes in high-quality productions at a low cost. LowerGentry Studios has an upcoming web series titled Canyon County that you'll be able to see on YouTube this December. Subscribe to their channel to get notifications of new episodes of Canyon County, as well as new episodes of this podcast. Today, I chat with Patti O'Hara. Patti is the director and MC of Actors Forum. We go into the details of how to become a part of the monthly Actors Forum and what the Actors Forum provides for the Treasure Valley. Enjoy!
Do I raise my hand when I hear the sound or something? No?
Yeah,
okay.
and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah, okay, good.
We're recording.
All right,
yeah.
Let's do it.
Excellent. Patti.
Chuck. Hi, Chuck.
Thank you so much for coming to my recording studio.
Hey, my pleasure.
Which has gone through elaborate upgrades since the last podcast.
Yeah,
which you can see.
It looks very professional, very nice. Yeah.
We can still hang blankets on the walls, but I figured it's good to have choices.
I don't know, this is a little intimidating, having all this panel stuff here, but I think I'll do okay. It's all right.
Do you want to chat about Actors Forum?
I'd love to talk about Actors Forum.
Cool. You should pretend like I've never gone or that I'm somebody else that hasn't been.
Okay, well, it happens once a month, every first Tuesday of the month, except for July. We take 4th of July week off. And I think we're in our third year already.
Okay.
Let's see. It happens every first Tuesday at the Elks Club now. There's a history there. We wound up at the Elks, and it's a great place to land, 7 to 9 p.m. And it's open to everyone, all levels, experience levels, all ability levels of acting.
Yeah.
To perform. And we invite people to come up and have up to 7 minutes of stage time to perform a prepared, that means memorized in our stuff, prepared monologue or show tune or a short scene with someone. And there's no critique unless they ask for it. That's something some people have asked to have.
Okay.
But usually there's no critique. It's just a performance. And it's an opportunity for people to try out that monologue or to do the monologue they didn't get to do or may never get to do. Maybe they did it in a show many years ago and they'd like to do it again because they miss it, or that show tune. And it's such an appreciative audience. The audience isn't all actors. It's people who are there to watch their friends or because it's a great environment. It's a theater environment. Just hang out, have a beer and watch their friends get up and perform. And that's just part of it. There's also a part that we threw in there because we weren't sure how many what we called featured performers we'd get every month. Sometimes I'll get 7 signed up, sometimes I'll get 2. And sometimes one of those 2 is sick at the last minute. I mean, life happens.
Yeah.
But Actors Forum goes on. People set aside this time. They're going to come and have a good time with their friends. So we threw in something called the sideshow. And that's when we give people a cold read. We draw names out of a hat and get 2 people up there. Depending on who gets up on the stage, we pull out a script, a side, and have them get up and do a completely cold read. It's fun because it is cold. And it's also, it's a great way for people who've never auditioned to see how it's done and to see that it's okay. You do make mistakes and to see people play with that read. It's what Actors Forum is all about is an opportunity for people who don't always have that opportunity or who may not have had the courage to do an audition or perform.
Okay.
It's a great place to get your feet wet in a comfortable environment.
And there are some people that are beyond that, groups of people that are trying to get their feet wet that come and do some readings as well. And
you mean
quite a few experience. And I've seen cast come up.
Yes.
The times that I've been.
Oh, yeah,
Which is super cool.
That's another feature. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
It's like a preview.
We are hosted by an organization called Idaho Association of Community Theaters, IACT.
Okay.
And by hosted, they pay our rent at the Elks Club, which is lovely.
Oh,
nice. Yeah. And we promote theaters that are members of IACT. We have some local community theaters that pay a membership, And we like to feature them. If they have an audition coming up, we have what we call an audition showcase, and we let the director come and bring a couple sides he or she's going to use at an audition, and then call in audience members to come up and do a cold read. Or what you've seen is when people come up and actually perform a scene they're preparing for a show that is in production that will be going up soon. So we'll feature a scene. And then what's really cool is those theaters bring a couple tickets that we put in a free drawing. So someone always walks out, at least one person walks out with a set of free tickets for a local production, which is really cool, very generous. Boise Little Theater and Stagecoach and Daisy's Madhouse have been very generous in giving us tickets for that and featuring scenes from their productions. Yeah, that's a cool feature. I forgot. How could I forget about it? It's a big deal. We also have a piece. We did a survey second year out, and it was a Survey Monkey or something, and we got a lot of great feedback. People said they would like to hear from directors too, not just actors, but have some directors showcase their stuff.
Yeah.
That's when we came up with the director's showcase.
Okay. I don't know that I've seen that one.
No, you haven't, and there is one coming up, by the way. And what we do is someone who wants to direct, maybe he or she hasn't directed before.
Okay.
Or again, there's a show that they might consider they would like to present or something or submit, and they want to do a scene. So they recruit a couple actors who prepare that scene, and they perform it at Actors Forum. They only have up to 10 minutes. We give them 10 minutes for that to set the scene, perform it. They can be on script or off. They don't have to have it memorized. That's the only time they don't have to have the script memorized. Then we ask the director questions about process.
Okay.
How he went about preparing the actors, why he picked that particular play, and how he prepares his actors or her actors. Sometimes we throw in what we call a mystery director, and that's when I'll find another director to direct the same scene, and then we present that right after the first one and compare the two. I do that only with permission of that first director.
You're not trying to one-up people?
No. And it was fun because we had someone do a completely different take on a scene, which was kind of cool. It was an all-female cast, and he came up with an all-male cast for the same scene. So it was interesting. And so you get to ask, why'd you do that? So anyway, it's fun stuff. Yeah, we have a really good time. And these things are added just to make sure that the evening is full. But ideally, we want it to be primarily people getting up and being featured performers, doing that monologue or show tune or short scene.
And how'd you come up with this?
Well, that's a good
idea?
Question. My husband, Richard O'Hara, is very active, or was. He's resigned or retired from this, with Idaho Songwriters. And they would have a similar kind of a once-a-month forum where people would go up, and it was kind of an open mic sort of thing, but they'd go up and they'd do original songs.
Okay.
And I was chatting with him about that. I go to watch him, and he'd MC that at the Sapphire. And we were talking about, well, how could we do this for actors? It seems like there's a place for that. In fact, he's the one who said, we're aging. Community theater in Boise is getting older. And is there a way that you're bringing in younger people? So in a way, this was also meant to do that. It was meant to be kind of a fun kind of a forum for that.
Loose and...
Yeah, relaxed, and bring your friends to support you. Maybe you haven't auditioned before. Maybe you never got to do it in high school. Maybe you're in high school and you're going to audition. So we're trying to reach out to everybody. And so it's kind of based on the Idaho Songwriters, and it's got a little touch of the Story Night. I don't know. Have you ever been to that?
I have not.
Oh, you're missing all this cool stuff.
I need to go to Story.
I know.
I apologize.
Well, Actors Forum,
Yes.
Idaho Songwriters, and Story.
Yeah.
But that's where we got the idea of the drawing out of the hat.
Okay.
Drawing a name out and then pulling people from the audience, doing a cold whatever story. So, and I loved going to that. I still do, but I'm a little booked right now with Actors Forum. So
So it's kind of an amalgam of
Yes.
different performance modalities that you've pushed
Yes.
together and made it work.
Totally stole from everybody, but I told them all that I was doing it. Idaho
That's
Songwriters
good.
Knows. Yeah, yes. They're good with it.
Well, sometimes it's best to take the best parts of certain things and then put them together and make
Yes.
it because it runs well.
Yes.
You know, and you MC it.
Yes.
And make sure that you do a good job of feeling the tone of the place. And the couple times that I've been, and make sure that the next performance makes sense.
Yeah.
And feel the crowd out for when they're going to be more apt to improvise or come up for a cold read and those types of situations, which is a lot of...
We always have our surprises. The person whose music doesn't work or... or forgets their line or forgot that they were going to do a monologue and they're called. And it's amazing what people can pull out of their hats sometimes. So it's pretty cool. So, and we are just so relaxed. Anything goes. Yeah. So
it's slick.
Yeah.
It's very slick the times that I've been. And then it moves well because of your emceeing, definitely.
Well, good.
The way that you pull the crowd in and make people feel comfortable.
Good.
So it's not an intimidating environment for anybody that wants to come by. I recommend it to anybody.
Good.
It's interesting that you mentioned that you are looking for other actors for community theater. So did you start out prior to the Actors Forum, you were acting in community theater mostly, or?
Yes, me?
Yeah.
Pretty much across the board here in Boise. A little bit. It's interesting because we actually, when we, I also work with IACT, Idaho Association of Community Theaters, and you know, one of the first things you want to do is define who is community theater, and I guess it's anyone that isn't professional. You don't have equity actors.
Okay. And
you don't have a repertory kind of a theater. So it's tricky. I don't want to mention other theaters here. I don't want to plug, I could mention that. I mean, obviously, we're not reaching out to ISF or to BCT, or I'll just use acronyms.
There we go.
Let them figure it out. You're going to have a little
Google that one.
Yeah.
See what it comes up with. I guess if you get specific to Boise, it'll come together for people so that they'll know what places you're trying not to say or try to say.
Yeah, I know. So this course going national, right? International, though.
Yeah. But this is on the internet, so anything that you say can and will be used against you.
I'm in trouble.
Forever.
Okay. So I was involved in as many theaters as I could be. I started out in one that's now gone, New Heritage Theater.
Okay.
And then from there, it's just opportunities. Theaters are cropping up in Boise. This place is crazy. I moved here from Chicago area.
Yeah.
You'd think there'd be tons of theater. There is in Chicago, but when you're in the suburbs, you're a 25-minute train ride away, yeah. That's how they say it there. And so you don't have access like you do here. I was shocked when I came here, and it's a feeding frenzy of community and semi-professional and professional. I got to die on the stage at ISF once, so I guess I could say I did professional theater too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How was that gig?
It was great. I was killed off in the first 10 minutes. I had a solo coming out and doing some sort of something or other, and then just got picked off, and that was it. Hauled away and got to sit backstage for the rest of it.
How did you die? What was the method of your death?
Well, do you know the Mousetrap? It was real interesting because this director actually wrote an extra piece. There's a Mrs. Olson in the Mousetrap that you only hear in the script. Agatha Christie only mentions her. She's on the radio, and she's a victim.
Oh,
well, he
cool.
decided to actually kill her off in the beginning.
Oh.
She's clearly not a very nice woman.
Okay.
And so she deserved it.
So added a scene.
Yeah.
Just because of your ability to die on stage.
It must have been. I don't know how I got called up to do that, because it was like out of the blue. Would you do this little thing for us?
You killed it during auditions.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even, I didn't even audition, and that's the killer part, because because sometimes you kind of wish that you could have and you knew that they really wanted you.
Yeah.
So this is one of those where the director said, he's from out of town, said, I could use someone on stage for this part. Can you think of someone who's mean and old, I guess? I don't know, but I got the part. And I got to die every night. Then I had the choice whether I wanted to come out for curtain, and the director said, you don't have to come out.
Drag me out in a body bag.
Well, I'm like, dang right, I'm coming out for curtain. I'm sticking around. I sat backstage, and then when I come out, I'm sure people are like, and who's the person on the end? Who's that? By then, they've completely forgotten that this woman even existed. But yeah, I got my moment. I
Nice.
did that. Yeah.
Sweet. Hey, if it pays.
I know, right? And it did. So it was good stuff.
So you have been acting for a while then. Did you act in Chicago?
In the burbs, yes.
Okay.
And I started in Madison, Wisconsin. Actually, I was with a professional theater group, a children's theater group.
Okay.
And we toured around the Midwest. We had a lot of grants.
Okay.
The National Endowment and stuff sent us all around, and we do workshops and perform original scripts, educational theater for kids in schools. That was fun. For 2 years, I did that right out of grad school.
So you traveled with kids to present.
And it's called Kids Theater. It was an acronym. Okay. There were no kids with us. No, we left them all behind at every school.
Because I hear that it's cheap work. Yeah. You don't have to pay them much. Maybe in this country, but...
You'd have to pay us a lot to travel with kids. Yeah. There's a reason I'm not.
I guess it all balances out.
Oh, God. So, no, I was just traveling and performing for kids in schools.
Okay, giving them moral lessons and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was actually. It was really neat.
So you have a degree in...
Not at all.
And I thought it was education or...
Well, it's in education, yes. So there was some teaching going on there, but that was my first acting gig. I wasn't even in community theater before I auditioned for that. I wanted to. I just didn't have time. But after I got my degree, I thought, now I can do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Had nothing to do with... And I think they did take me because of my education degree, because we wrote some lesson plans and things. But I could act and sing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, plus, you knew the bureaucratic end.
Yeah, right? I knew what...
you can talk to the schools and use their jargon.
Yes. I spoke the language.
Yeah.
And each one of us, there are 4 of us, had our own special skill. And, Patti, go talk to the superintendent. So, yeah. And then come out in your goofy costume and we'll, do our thing. So that's how I got started. And then just performed in a lot of community theater. And then you go, oh, did I see you in that commercial? So you start getting into some commercials and stuff because you start finding out that your friends are doing commercials. And so, yeah, good stuff.
So you've been on and off in that, or just acting for your whole life since you graduated from college, more or less, or did you use your educational degree? Or?
I'd like to think that I did.
Well, I mean,
I did. Hey, and it's
in
okay.
official capacity, I guess.
Right. Yeah, no.
Don't need this knowledge.
I'm squirming a little bit. Yeah, really, right? You go through graduate school and then you really do what you want to do. In a way, I used what I went to school for, my degrees in education. There was a little bit of behavioral disabilities in my graduate school.
Okay.
And you use that when you study characters.
Okay.
And speech therapy. I use that when I do voices and things. That's my undergrad degree.
I didn't know that you do voices.
Oh, God. Don't ask. Oh, come on. No. Don't do it.
Well, I'm just curious now.
I know. You'd have to cut the tape, and I'd have to really kind of warm up to it, so we're not going to
Well, we could practice some warm-up exercises. Yeah. Well, you should have let me know beforehand all of your different abilities, and then we could have...
There are too many, Chuck.
Okay.
We just don't have time. This is about Actors Forum right now.
Okay.
Just book me on the next 3, and we'll cover it all. So.
Well, what time is it? We got time. We can go through this, cut it into several episodes.
No, Chuck. No. Ask me some more about Actors Forum.
Yes, we can get back on topic. I apologize.
Yeah.
So you basically have been doing that for the last 3 years, and that was because of your passion for community theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I would say that there are some people behind this that it was an idea, and there is someone named Debbie Herzog who also was starting Idaho Association of Community Theaters getting that really going at the time. And she's the one who said, this is a really cool idea. We'll adopt you. How about if Actors Forum becomes we'll I want to say embrace Actors Forum. We'll adopt Actors Forum, and you will be the venue or a way to include the community in theater. It really is a perfect match when you think of it, because we're open to everybody.
Yeah.
And we aren't open just to IACT members. Anybody can come and anybody can perform. We just do shout outs and tend to reach out more to those members. So there were people involved originally that said, this is a good idea and let's make it happen. And Debbie, for example, was very helpful in helping find a site. There is I'd say Brad Uli was also involved. He was on a committee that we were trying to find a place. Mm-hmm. We were originally at the Oahe in their lobby.
Okay.
And we were a First Thursday event for a while. And we'd have people walking through the lobby, and here we are trying to do serious monologues off on the left. And it was kind of interesting. And there's a bar on the right. And we had a great audience. They just didn't know they were watching Actors Forum.
By the way, this is what's going on.
Yeah. And so gradually...
Can you all keep it down, please?
Well, yeah. And that got to be a little awkward. But it fixed itself because they eventually booted us out of the lobby and we wound up in a back room. New management said, well, we're going to start charging you a lot of money for this back room. So we said, well, got to go. I know. Well, they have to. They changed what they do. They aren't a gamekeeper anymore. I think they're more residential now. I'm not sure. And I think they do some parties. Well, here I am plugging it. We're not there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and you're at the Elks, which is a nice venue. They have that separate area for you guys to.
It's wonderful.
They're
they're so generous and just so welcoming. So there were people involved: Brad Uli, Debbie Herzog. I'm gonna forget people now that helped quite a bit. Patti Finley came on board. She was new in town from California. She hops on board, and suddenly she's actively involved. Anastasia Van Allen, who has just moved to New York, was also there to kind of round up some people to do things. It couldn't have happened. It wasn't just me. This really was a group effort. It was just a little idea that we just took off with as a team. So, and I couldn't keep doing it every month without that support. They're there. So,
and it was initially there that the idea that you brought on board was to gain attention and find people to act in community theater. And you said you're looking for a lot of younger people.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it hard to find kids? Is it hard to find teens? Is it hard to find people in their 20s? Is that...
Well, it is a challenge.
Oh.
There are programs for them. Boise Little Theater, for example, has a youth program, and you're going to be talking to Autumn Kersey. Of course, Treasure Valley Children's Theater. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
But so it really was, it's more about meeting your community, your theater community, whether you are an actor or whether you're someone who's no longer going to be acting because that's it. You don't want to memorize a script again, or someone, maybe you have a grandchild that you want to bring and introduce to theater. It's really just that little 2-hour introduction, get a taste of, and meet people. It's a lot of networking, too, especially when we bring the directors in. They will see someone for the first time, up on the stage that they've never met before. I've had people on Facebook will say, hey, I'm new in town. Is there some theater going on here? And what really makes me smile is when I get tagged, contact Patti O'Hara, there's Actors Forum. So I can't tell you, I've met with probably 3 or 4 new people over a cup of coffee to talk about not just Actors Forum, but then to talk about all the different theaters that I'm learning about as an MC, in reaching out. So,
what do you think the difference is? Because you said when you came here to Boise from Chicago that there was a lot of theaters performing and available, and I'm guessing as far as like actors are concerned, attendance for audiences was that a big difference? Do you think because of the size of the town? Do you think that there was a monopoly in Chicago?
Well,
Do you think?
and again, we should probably go from Chicago because I'm talking suburbs.
Okay.
There's some really good theater in the suburbs.
Yeah.
It's just you're limited. You don't have a lot of different theaters to choose from in the suburbs of Chicago. So, yeah, they're well attended, the community theaters. In fact, the one that I belonged to was, I think, the oldest one east of the Mississippi was their claim to fame, the longest
wow.
running community theater, yeah. And so there just wasn't a lot. I don't know why. How big is Boise? 200,000?
Probably just under 200. I'm
Okay.
guessing in the actual city.
Well, I want to say it's the size of Madison, so maybe it's
Okay.
more comparable to Madison, Wisconsin, where I started out, and there were more theaters there. But in the suburb of Chicago, we had 2 theaters, 4, but they were in different suburbs. It'd be like me driving to Nampa, and this is really far, by the way. I had to find my passport to get here.
It's not
Jeez.
Oregon yet.
Oh, my God. I had to study up on my foreign language. And, oh, Lord. Anyway, so there just weren't that many in Downers Grove in the suburb. Here, there's so many and such a variety. Another one just popped up. I'm not going to name it, but
Okay.
I see that Zoe's probably going to audition for them. They call themselves eclectic is their kind of niche, I guess. They're more eclectic. I thought we had daisies and, we have other eclectic ones. But every time you turn around, there's another theater popping up. So we're kind of that place that they all get together and meet, I think.
I would agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Because there really aren't a lot of ways for someone to practice their craft that needs an audience, and
Right.
And I was actually thinking a little bit about what you provide. If you think about it, like for music perspective, it's not quite. It's almost like an open mic night, but not the same. And you have a lot of mixture. I always think of music in terms of people that are performing, like classical musicians,
Yes, yeah.
versus like improvisational, like
Yeah.
jazz, and the two rarely
Meet.
intersect.
Yes, right? Yes. Ne'er the twain shall.
But when you
yeah.
give someone a quasi Mad Lib as they're reading through a script and forcing them to think on their feet.
I'm going to
It's a lot
rethink
different.
that one, by the way.
I thought it was great because it does throw and certain people can grasp onto it, and other people have a much more difficult time because their technique is based on repetition and practice and not just being in the moment. But you offer like quite a variety of different ways of being on stage and being in front of people.
Might be getting carried away on that, by the way. There are Mad Libs, and what you didn't see is our is the the neutral dialogue. So you've got just a sheet of kind of nonsense back and forth, A-B talks back and forth, like the Mad Lib was, but no choose your pick your word to fill in the blank.
Okay.
But we've been doing that too. And again, these things are in the hopper because I can't keep coming up with these sides all the time.
Oh, yeah.
One of the criticisms we got was, can we get some fresh sides? Well, it's like, yeah, well, come bring me some, This is a volunteer organization. It's like a lot of work. So I usually spend a couple days before Actors Forum, seriously, full days in copying, duplicating sides, and then you have to edit it because this is a cold read and you can't be doing props. You can't have notes there that say, you exit out the stage left or whatever, because the actor doesn't have time to read that. I've really got to clean them up. Sometimes I'm even removing some dialogue. I don't know if I can do that, but I do. I mess with the script a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm creating these, but it's very labor intensive.
I bet.
To find them and then to prepare them, 2 sets so they can read them, and then to put them on this sheet where we can quickly see, oh yeah, we've got one that's for an older man and a younger girl. They're not related, and you want to make sure it's so Anne Frank. You have that one, for example. I mean, there's a lot of prep. So when that happened, when people are going, we want fresh sides, I'm like, well, I can't keep doing it, so I'll give you fresh sides. They're hungry out there. They were just crazy hungry in that audience, right? So I thought I'll come up with these neutral dialogues, and that way we can just throw adjectives at them. Be angry this time. Do the neutral dialogue.
There we go.
You're happy, you're angry. Okay, go. And that's buying time while I'm trying to fish around for another neutral dialogue. But yeah. Anyway, long answer to your question. You know what? You asked the question about 10 minutes ago about kids, getting them involved.
Yeah.
I don't think I answered it. But
that's okay.
We can move on.
Okay, well,
good.
I mean, no, it's interesting. I think that there's a little bit, we have a hard time in film finding there's a specific group, and it's like teenagers.
Yes.
And just over 18.
Yes.
It's very difficult. We've been very fortunate to find some great people to work with in that age range, or at least, or maybe older that are completely fine passing off in that age range. But it's different with the teenagers.
Yes.
It's hard to find them.
Yes, it is. Well, and I've tapped Autumn's group, her Treasure Valley Children's Theater.
Oh, okay.
We actually used to reserve we call it the first act, from 7 to 8 in Actors Forum. Used to be family friendly. And then after intermission, okay, go home, because after intermission, we're going to pull out sides and we're going to have some Mad Libs that aren't pretty.
Okay.
I haven't done the Shakespeare Mad Libs. I actually wrote his Shakespeare neutral dialogue.
I was just thinking in my head, like, why'd you guys get kicked out of Hawaii? Is there more to this story?
That's going to be session 2.
Oh, okay. All right, after 8, get your children out of here.
It's that time, boys and girls. In fact, there was one time where we probably slipped one in, and I may have gotten a comment in the little survey that we did, that we kind of surprised someone, and could you give us a little heads up? Well, I did, but I actually didn't know what we had done was censored, but I guess it was. Anyway, so we used to reserve the first part for kids, and now I just kind of wait and see if we do get kids. When I know Autumn's group is coming to do something, they were for a while. They kind of had actually a reserved spot, and I'll have to see if she's interested in doing that again, because they always brought something amazing, a musical number or a scene or something that they were working on. So I'd love to have them come back. And sometimes it's just a matter of asking permission up front. Do we need to censor anything in this first act? Otherwise, know that we're going to go for it in the second one. So yeah, because that's theater. It is. So,
gotta be careful. I didn't realize that there was stuff that needed to be censored.
Well, sometimes there is in scripts.
Well, then maybe you need to let me know when the 18+ one comes up for sure.
Well, I'm
interested to see what what happens.
Well, I'll pull out the Shakespeare one, and maybe you can do that. Come in September, right?
Okay.
We'll see what we've got. Yeah. Anyway, see, and we haven't pulled sides out for a while either. So there have been a couple in there that would come out. And
well, that's probably a good thing. I mean, I feel like sides, obviously it's a lot of work for you, but it's kind of like you're filling some time. Maybe some people didn't show up, but obviously your attendance is really solid. There's a lot of people that want to come up and practice.
Yes, yeah. And put their name in the hat and see if they can do it or not. Yeah. Yeah, it's been good. And that's another thing. It's interesting because it almost has a season. If we're competing with a lot of things in production, then we tend to have not as many people, of course. If there are 2 musicals going on at the same time,
okay.
Yeah, it gets a little challenging. But it still works. We've had as few as 22 people, and it's been a great time. That happened once. I wasn't emceeing that time, but I heard. But they had enough. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
And you know how it is? I have this reoccurring nightmare. I used to teach at-risk
I'm a teacher.
kids.
I'm a psychiatrist.
Okay. Well, you wonder sometimes,
let me
right?
Try.
Right?
Anyway.
So I would teach these at-risk kids, and I had this reoccurring nightmare that I'm teaching, and the bell isn't ringing, and I've run out of my lesson plan, and it's not ringing. And not only that, but suddenly I'm in the auditorium teaching, and the bell's not ringing.
They keep coming.
But the audience, the student body is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm in the auditorium and the bell's not ringing, and I'm doing a song and dance. I'm doing everything I can to entertain them. It was kind of like that every day when I teach. It's like, oh, dang, we aren't doing interview skills. We're done with our thing. So you always had to have some sort of enrichment thing in your pocket, right? Something that you could justify if the superintendent did a drop-in to observe you. And he said, why are they playing wink with murder or murder, that one where you wink? Well, sir, it's to, reinforce eye contact with this group because they don't always make eye contact. And this is a great way to get them to look at each other in the eye and murder each other, but they're making eye contact. So anyway, so I had that reoccurring nightmare, and I applied it to this. I have this horrible fear that in Actors Forum, we're going to have 2 people show up as performers, 3 people in the audience, and, they're done with their act, and there we stand.
And so we got 2 hours to kill.
Yeah, right? So that's why we've got sideshows, director showcase, Mad Libs, Act Libs, we call them. Yeah.
No, and it works well. That's good. I guess...
If
you have that fear, you're not going to run into that situation, I would just about imagine.
It might be getting a little much now, though. I'm kind of thinking we're losing our focus a little bit.
Well, what do you think the focus should be?
Back to preferred performance, back to monologues, and back to the 3 core things: the monologues, side scenes, and show tunes, to make that the center piece, and then maybe sideshows. We do have a lot going on with the neutral dialogues, director showcase, audition showcase. Yeah. So,
but it's good for people that are trying to get their feet wet, like you said.
Yes. Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've seen? What are some good comments that you've gotten from Actors Forum from people, and what were some of the performances that you've watched from someone that was green that you're like, oh, this is why I do this?
Yeah. Okay. I won't mention any names, but. There have been, I'm going to have to be vague. There was someone who was still in high school, and it was just a real pleasure to have him get up on stage, nervous and get through his monologue, barely. But he got the biggest round of applause. It was all about, the audience knew that this was essential, that this was the applause he needs to go back now and do it even better. And he just glowed. He just, again, it's so vague. I don't want to mention names.
But it sounds to me like they have that, there's the statistic about more people are afraid of public speaking than they are of death.
Yeah, I guess so, right? I'm not. Are you? Are you afraid of public speaking?
It doesn't bother me much, but I guess a lot
of
people...
Death bothers me, but not public speaking. Yeah, I mean...
Death sounds pretty awful.
It does, doesn't it?
But
and taxes, but public speaking? No.
It's the all eyes. Good. I guess we just don't mind all the attention. It's fine.
It must be.
People shy away from that. Some people do. Do you get people that are coming through for that reason? That are to get over that fear?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Definitely, yes.
That's cool.
I will mention. No, I won't. He'll say his name. I just remember his name.
We'll use Pig Latin.
Okay, Avid Day. Okay. But he showed up at one of the very first Actors Forum. Fora. I'm not sure what the plural is, but forums we'll say.
Yeah.
It could be fora, I don't know, or fora,
I don't know.
Forum,
like deer.
Okay, good. Yeah, deer. Okay. So he came and he did a monologue and came again, did another one. I mean, the guy was just like feeding on Actors Forum. And I got an email from him. He said, I'm going to audition. I'm going to do an audition. I'm like, well, that's just terrific. Go get him. And he did, and he got the part, and he was just, he just couldn't thank me enough. It was embarrassing because all we did was create that opportunity for him. it felt a little personal, and it shouldn't, because it wasn't me. It was, isn't this great? Now spread the word, share it with someone else. And this guy's gone on to do some really good stuff. I've seen him.
A film with Even Stay Ilbergsbay. If I no.
Yes. At they unway. Oh, yes. I have to think about this. God. Anyway, yeah. So I do know of that case in particular. That was his very first. How cool is that?
No, that's
I know. And I've had a couple get up there. There's a woman who was just, oh my gosh. I was in a play with her, and I know how nervous she'd get. I don't know why she even did it, because she didn't want to. I think she was doing it to make me feel good, like you really need performers. Bless her heart, because I thought she was going to have a heart attack up there. She got through it. It was a beautiful monologue. But yeah, I mean, you could tell that this isn't something she really wanted to do. I don't know. Again, I think it was just to be nice to me. So that's okay. That can be a motive, to be nice to me and fill up my bill. I'm good with that.
So people come and perform with varying levels of nerves.
Yes.
But the audience is always kind.
Yes, they are.
And supportive.
Yes, they are.
Which is good, which helps motivate people.
What I'd really like is for people to...
You should open it up to some stand-up comedy or something like that, too. That might be... No.
Oh, you know what, though? That's a really good point. When we first got together with this team, and boy, I wish I could remember who the other member was. Debbie and Brad and I got together, and we're brainstorming. Maybe Jonathan Perry was involved. But we're brainstorming what actress form should include, what we should allow. Well, we eliminated animal acts, no animal acts, right? And no magic acts. And it couldn't be original stuff. We decided it had to be published, because otherwise we become kind of like a poetry slam in a way, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And we wouldn't do poems.
That's some good foresight.
Yeah, well, we did. We anticipated some of this, right? Yeah. And so that was something we seriously considered. And improv was one of the things we decided early on not to include, because it almost can take over, and that's kind of what the Mad Libs sort of do a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But over the past year, we did get a couple that comes in, and they are just so good, and we've kind of seen the improv as a warm-up. It's a great acting warm-up. So we've kind of expanded a little bit. So we're kind of wiggling and readjusting as we go along, but still no animal acts, no original, no poems, no original works, so.
Animal trainers.
Yes, I hate
sorry.
it when they, yeah, the guy who wanted to bring his bear. Yeah.
It's too bad.
Yeah. I know. I think we're going to draw the line there, though, so yeah.
Cool. And when you're putting this together with the community theaters, what is... I just drew a blank on what the question was I was going to ask. It just trailed off. But you've been doing this you've been doing this for 3 years.
Yes.
Obviously, you enjoy doing it a lot.
Yes.
And where are you going with this ultimately? Like, what do you want to... Like you said, you're funneling anything other than just younger people. Mm-hmm. Is it just awareness for acting, awareness for these community theaters? Like, what is your... Yeah. You have a lot of different things that you're doing there. You're helping people become more... practice their acts, more comfortable in front of groups.
Yes. So it's for the individuals. It is also for the theaters.
Okay.
We don't exclude people who aren't members of IACT, but we like to encourage people to participate in that because there are benefits with that. And so it's a nice showcase for them. It's a great way to highlight what's coming up for them through these performances that they do. And this is a really good question about where are we going or what's next, or because I've thought about that. There are times where I think this is a lot of work. And I do get a little nervous before because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to get someone coming to Actors Forum who thought they were going to bowling league and wound up stuck there, and now they're not going to, cooperate or something, or you're going to get someone in the audience that, I don't know. I just don't know what to expect sometimes. It's exciting, but it's also scary. So what is it, and what the answer I give myself, what's going to keep, what's it going to look like?
Yeah.
Maybe the same.
Okay.
What's going to change is who participates and how the network will grow. I know almost everyone out there, and it's because I've been around and I have participated, but it's because I've had opportunities to network. And I know that anyone who comes to Actors Forum on a regular basis is meeting and becoming acquainted with a lot of theater-minded people, whether they're actors or just people who appreciate theater and actors and performing. So that is always going to be important, and an outcome is that networking, that getting together. It's like church.
Mm-hmm.
For some people it is their church.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. We're going to get together and for 2 hours, and a couple of people are going to sing to you, someone's going to preach to you, and we're going to, do a reenactment or whatever. But, and so, yeah, as long as we can get community together and people have an opportunity to network and meet new people, then we'll continue. And I have the energy and I have backup when I can't make it. We'll continue. And there are other criteria, other caveats, but yeah, we'll continue. So,
Do you do any community theater acting? Do you have
Yeah.
anything coming up?
no, I
No?
don't. We travel a little bit too. So my husband and I do.
Okay.
And that really bites into if you're traveling, it's either going to eat into your performance schedule or your rehearsal schedule. So that's a bummer. This has been a year for that. We've been gone a lot. So
Well, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I just know this because you helped us out, and you were pretty well slammed with all sorts of
yeah.
productions.
And you gave me 1 month. It was beautiful. It was perfect. You worked with that schedule. It was so awesome. So, and, film kind of does fill that niche because it is so finite. It's usually it is.
Yeah.
Or usually there's some flexibility. You're not depending on an audience and ticket sales. So you can,
yeah.
And I've been in them where a year later, your hair's a whole different length. They call you back for the scene. I did a commercial once where I did a thing. It was in Madison, and we have moved to Chicago. And I get a call, and they said, the second part didn't work out. Can you come back?
Oops.
Yeah, and my hair's a different color, a different
Oh, my
length. Oh,
gosh.
yeah. We're on the set, and they're like behind me, just chopping away stuff that shouldn't show. And oh, yeah. Anyway, I digress. But where did that come from?
I was asking about you participating in the community theater, because obviously you have a passion for it, so it goes into all
Yes.
aspects of your life.
It does. So, but there's other stuff out there for all of us, whether it's film or theater or even commercial work. It's not exclusive. It doesn't take special training. It's out there. And it's a great place. Actors Forum is a great place to hear about those things. People happen to mention that, they're doing a film, for example. I think Zoe probably chatted about that with a couple people because they said, oh, how do you get into that? Well, there's this Facebook page, and you just met two people. You met a writer and director and filmmaker. So, yeah.
What would you tell somebody that's maybe thinking about getting into acting or getting into some sort of public speaking, and they feel a little nervous?
Uh-huh.
How do you think you could help them out? I mean, obviously we went over that in some detail here, but
Yeah. You mean advice?
what should they do?
Yeah.
Should they reach out to you?
I think it's sure.
How do they find you?
Oh, well, if you want to be involved in Actors Forum, and that's a good question, too. You've got a lot of good questions, Chuck. You must do this a lot, huh?
This is three so far.
Got some more coming up, I hear, but I digress again. What I would do is people can get a hold of me through actorsforumis@gmail.com.
Okay.
It's a sentence. actorsforumis@gmail.com, and I will respond. We're on Facebook. Actors Forum is Facebook page.
Okay. Is
They
it
can-
Actors Forum Boise, I think, maybe, or something like that?
I want to say it's actually Idaho Association of Community Theaters Actors Forum, maybe.
Okay.
But if you do Actors Forum, there aren't many of us out there, and it'll pop up as I act. Or you can reach out to me, message me on Facebook even, and I can give them some more information or send them to that site. We're also on Instagram.
Okay.
And I should know that. I was supposed to meet with my Instagram guru today, and I don't have that information, but we are on Instagram too.
Instagram is one of those things I don't get it.
No,
But I just
I was going to get trained today on Instagram.
You take a picture. It has to be a picture.
Does it?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure you have to have a picture associated
Okay.
with it. Otherwise, you can't upload anything.
Okay,
You can't
all
just
right.
have like a phrase, because like Twitter is all about the characters, and this one's all about the picture.
Oh.
And then like what you put underneath, and it's hard to put links
Yes.
in there too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
LowerGentry uses Instagram and Twitter, and we're trying to figure
Jeez.
all that stuff out.
Well, this is refreshing.
It's frustrating.
Well, I'm so glad because you're young and you should know this, and I don't. I don't know it, but I'm trying, and I feel I am frustrated because things. There's so many ways you can get the word out there, and I'm resorting to the old-fashioned email. So we
Yeah.
do have this finite email list. By the way, it's very private. If
Yeah.
anyone wants to be on it, you only hear from us twice a month. Once to tell us to sign up now to be a featured performer. And then the next one to remind you that it's happening, coming up, in a couple days, that, put it on your calendar. And it's a BCC'd. We don't share your list with anybody. Nobody sees who all is on the list. So, yeah. Anyway, but old-fashioned email and any time there's an audition or something, I sometimes throw a stack of flyers at the audition. People waiting to do a read, might see that, something like that. So, and Instagram. You'll see us more on Instagram.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll take my class and get into it.
The photos with the filters, that's how they started. They were the photos with the filters,
Oh.
those semi-professional looking cell phone pictures.
Yes.
They were the ones that I think they were the first to do those like nice filters to make it look like a
And do
whatever.
hashtags take you there, right?
Yeah,
Is that where
they
hashtags
do. They do hashtag. Everybody
go?
does a hashtag.
I
now.
know. I
There's-
fake hashtags. I do fake ones.
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
No, I don't think there's such a thing.
Well, there is because I do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
well-
you can invent them,
That's what I did.
and then
Is it
people
going
will-
somewhere?
You just gotta search it and see if it's trending.
Oh God, I made it up. So I might have created something.
You could have
Oh,
created
no.
a beast. If you see a whole bunch, if you search that hashtag on whatever social media
Oh.
you put it on, if you see a bunch of other people copying you, then
Boy,
you might have
this
started
is,
it.
it's dangerous. It's like giving a cell phone to a 2-year-old, and here, dial anything you want.
You got to start them young if they're going to make money at this stuff. Though.
Well, I did a hashtag. We'll
Lots
see
of
what
followers.
happens.
That's the important thing.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I wanted them to follow that. So anyway, I'll learn. I'll figure this out.
But you guys have been word of mouth for the most part.
We
then?
have, yeah, we have. But it's a
And
community.
It's a good turnout too.
It is.
So
It
it's
is.
right now where it's sitting. It's a lot of people just know about it from the fact that was referred
Yes.
by somebody I knew
Yes.
to come sit in on.
It's word of mouth.
Yeah.
And that is the reason we do introduce new stuff too, is to keep it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Because people do come monthly and you do want them to come back. Even if you bring fresh sides, it's still a sideshow.
Yeah.
And so you do want to kind of introduce some stuff. So I guess I'm trying to justify bringing in all this other stuff like the act libs and stuff, neutral dialogue. But yeah, capacity, I mean, we can fit as many as 60 people in there. I think I was telling you we had as few as 22. That was at the Oahe once. But otherwise, we're usually about 35, 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's a reasonable group to get in front of. And you said any advice I would give, first of all, to contact Actors Forum and
Yeah.
sign up or come, right? But if someone is interested in doing it, getting up on stage, to pick out something small. It doesn't have to be 7 minutes. You have 7 minutes to introduce yourself, set the stage for whatever the monologue is. This is a monologue from Steel Magnolias. It's when Malin is going into her, having a breakdown at the end. That's setting the stage. Then you do the monologue and then take your bow and go. It can be 1.5 minutes. A monologue doesn't have to be a minimum amount of time. And people are welcome, which is a problem for me because I may have all these people signed up as featured performers, and they're all up there for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Now I've just got 20 minutes with 10 people.
And those children just keep coming into the gymnasium.
Yes, right? Yes.
And you're on stage dancing.
That's it. That's the vision. Anyway.
Well, instead of printing off sides, you could practice a tap routine or something like that. Maybe people...
I did pull a really bad monologue out of my pocket. I did the first one that I auditioned for ever. I didn't even know what a monologue
around
was.
With you? Is that what you mean? Literally, it was in your...
The reason I know it, no, it was in my head. And the reason I know it is it's Where the Wild Things Are. I was auditioning for that children's thing, right? I didn't know what a monologue was, so I recited the story Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the night Max wears wolf suit and anyway, whatever. So there was a night where it was a little quiet, and I had like 3 no-shows.
Yeah.
Flu was going around, and I think a little bit of cold feet was going around. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have act libs at the time, and maybe we were running out of sideshows or something. I don't know. So I said, well, I'm going to do the first monologue audition I ever did. I'm going to do it for you now, and I did. I think people were stunned because it was a story. It wasn't really a monologue. So I think they weren't sure how to react to it, and I wasn't sure what I expected them to do. All I know is that it did take up a good 3.5 minutes. Because when I came to the Where the Wild Things Were, I got to do a little rumpus dance and kill a little more time, but certainly wasn't a monologue anyway. But we were talking about... anyway, this is what happens. I noticed.
A little sidetracked.
They're called rabbit trails, and we've gone on a few of them.
Yeah. So people need to get in touch with you.
Yes, they do.
Actors Forum
yes,
is
thank you.
at gmail.
Yes,
.com is the best way. They can search for you on Instagram, but you don't know which hashtag or what to do.
Something with hair in it or something.
Okay.
It says hair, I don't know. But if they are going to do a monologue, and it's their first one ever, go small. Do something that you really enjoy. Do something that's age appropriate. Don't take risks on that first one. Mm-hmm. And I'd recommend that they keep it short, but be over prepared. The mistake I made when I first started out, and I know this is true for a lot of people, is you think you're ready, but do it in all kinds of settings. Once you think you have it memorized, then do it while there's music playing. Do it while you're jogging. Do it on all kinds. You want it so committed to memory that it's just second nature, because then you're going to perform it. And that way too, that's where the nerves go. Once you've got it in your pocket and you know it so well, that's half of that nervous tension. It's preparation. That's like new, not. That's profound. Make sure you watch that podcast. You're going to hear a magic word.
Practice, practice, practice.
Prepare, boys and girls. Anyway.
Well, no, that's good advice. I think a lot of people, that was the first advice I was given when I was trying to figure out how to act was you need to make sure that you have the words down verbatim.
Yes.
Because then you will start to act them out.
Yes.
Because you're not thinking about what you're saying.
Yes.
Just as, most of us don't think about what we're saying while we're saying it.
I'm not thinking of what I'm saying.
It just comes right out.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Yeah. But yes, yeah.
So that's pretty solid advice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Nothing new, but it's a reminder.
Or just shoot from the hip. Because the audience shouldn't be too mean to you in this venue,
well,
so that's nice.
Even shooting from the hip can be a little stressful with this audience. So yeah, they do just kind of wait politely. So yeah, you got to fill that air somehow. You can kind of tell when people are a little off, and they're improvising, but but they're still very kind. Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. All right. So Actors Forum is at gmail.com.
Yes, Actors Forum is at gmail.com, yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And they can get in contact with you if they'd like to get on the email list or if they'd like to sign up to perform. The next one is going to be coming...
September 4th.
September 4th.
And I'm accepting sign-ups for preferred performers. If you contact me and want to get up there, you are called a featured performer.
Okay.
So if you want to be a featured performer, do it this week. Sign up with me this week. Otherwise, you can also walk in. You
Excellent.
can come September 4th and walk in and say, I'm ready to do this. Do you have time?
Okay.
Okay.
Or just be ready, have your name in the hat, and you might be pulled to
do a sideshow, right? Or an act lib. Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're looking forward to that, and I thank you for coming in today. I
Oh,
think
thank you, Chuck.
we'll call this good.
Okay.
Until next time.
Okay.
All right.
See you then.
Thanks, Patti.
Bye, Chuck.